They should understand that Israel's modern day restoration, therefore, flows out of a promise that God made 4,000 years ago. That Israel is not in the land of Canaan today because of prophecy. You see, that's another problem. Israel is in the land of Canaan because of a promise that God gave 4,000 years ago. Prophecy merely validates the timing of a covenant, that is, of its arrival. So Israel is back in the land as a consequence of the Abrahamic covenant in order to mediate the last great covenant of all history to the world. It has to be clearly stated that Jews and Gentiles are all saved by one Messiah, the Lord Jesus. But it is true that Israel remains the mediator of God's eternal purpose. She is the vehicle of world redemption. Jesus said, salvation is of the Jews. And so this return of the Jews is not a coincidence. It's not a political accident. The Christian world is looking squarely at one of the greatest acts of God in history. So that means they better get behind it. And that's important. And that is why we need to be praying for Israel and for the peace of Jerusalem. Psalm 122. Now that peace of Jerusalem is not just political peace, secular peace. That peace is a redemptive peace. And that is, we need to be praying for this people because the Bible teaches that their physical recovery will lead to a spiritual recovery.
And what signs do you see of that happening? You've been living in Jerusalem for many years now. Do you see this move?
We see in Israel a new willingness, if you want to put it that way, to examine the person of Jesus, freed from his Gentile attachments. If you want to put it this way, Israel wants to look at Joseph now as Joseph, not as the second in command of Egypt who rose to the throne.
So there's been a shift in
There's
the
been a
spiritual
shift,
climate.
and you will see in the papers and in various magazines Hebrew scholars grappling with the rabbi Jesus of Nazareth and examining him in a new light. And we see, coupled with that, of course, an interest in what he means for them. And that's an exciting development in this whole journey that Israel is on. I'm encouraged that the book of Zechariah says that Israel is going to be saved in a day. It's incredible. And I'm also encouraged by the book of Zechariah, a Hebrew prophet, that says he will pour out upon them the spirit of supplication and of grace, by which they will look upon him whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only son. So certainly Israel is on a journey, and it will be a journey of great difficulty.
A journey she doesn't understand.
A journey she doesn't understand, a journey that the church doesn't understand, a journey that the world fails to understand. And if they really understood it, they would appreciate that her journey is for the blessing of the world, as her journey was when Messiah came the first time. You know, when she came back to the land, same problems, just a different time. Under Ezra, Nehemiah, the restoration prophets of Haggai, Zechariah, you know them all. Suddenly in the land, there was uproar. The people who were living there said, you can't come back here and take this land. You can't build this city. We're not going to allow you to do it. You've got to stop this. We're going to write to the politicians and the kings in the region, and we're going to tell them, a peace conference, guys, this has got to come to an end. You can't let this happen. Nothing is new. That doesn't mean that God is unjust and doesn't hear the cry of the oppressed and those who have difficulty, and Israel will be dealt with by a God who knows how to do it. But it does mean that they will never frustrate the purpose of God. And he has promised a national redemption for Israel, which is for the blessing of the world. In Nehemiah's day, those antagonists who wanted to stop the whole thing had no idea This was the platform for the coming of the Messiah, who would die on a cross and reconcile the world to his Father. And the same way today, the nations are raging, and they have a vain thing in their mind, says the book of Psalms chapter 2, and they rage against this restoration of Israel. It's on a global scale now. And the book of Revelation even warns that all nations, by the work of evil spirits, will be brought against this tiny nation. Why? Because the King is coming. And when he comes, for the first time in the world's sad 6,000-year history as we know humankind, men and women will learn war no more. And peace will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. And his resting place will be glorious. And Israel will be the jewel in his kingdom, for he is the King of the Jews.